Night in the Premier League. Chelsea paraded new signings Olivier Giroud and Emerson Palmieri at half-time, and then Bournemouth scored 3 times after the break to somewhat spoil the party. Sam Allardyce's 1000th game in English football ended with victory over Leicester after Theo Walcott scored twice. That's Everton's first win for 6 weeks, and nice to see Seamus Coleman back as well. No Riyad Mahrez for Leicester. We're live till 11 o'clock this evening, so we'll keep the conversation going about the transfer window till 11 tonight, and we'll discuss the situation at Leicester for Mahrez. Newcastle still without a home win in the Premier League since October after conceding a late goal against Burnley. It's now 12 Premier League games without a win for Southampton after they drew with Brighton. Manchester City beat West Brom 3-0. City have now scored 101 goals this season in all competitions, and they finished Stoke 0, Watford 0, and we know what happened here. This is what it means for the table then. At the top, City now have a 15-point lead over the Chasers. It's been a bad week, hasn't it, for Arsenal? Now 8 points outside those Champions League places, and that just shows you quite clearly how important tonight was for Tottenham. It's just those 5 points between them and Manchester United. It would have been 11 if United had been the winners here this evening. Down towards the bottom, well, West Brom are still bottom. They're now 4 points from safety. But get this, just 4 points separates Watford in 11th and Swansea, who sit down there in 19th place. That shows you how tight it is at the bottom of the Premier League. Tottenham as good as Manchester United were bad. Let's now hear from Christian Eriksen and Eric Dyer. They're talking to Des.
Thank you very much.
Well played to the both of them. Look, when you've noticed you've been making poor starts to games, it's a pretty impressive way to put that to bed, isn't it?
Yeah, route one.
Yeah.
Old school. But no, I think it does signal an intention. But I think I agree with that. Sometimes Tottenham's build-up can be a bit slow this season. It has caused some problems to break teams down. But there you go. Let's start as you mean to go on. Play it forward. The important thing here is that you all get forward to get onto the second ball, which they do. They get enough bodies there. Manchester United make mistakes, but Tottenham have got enough bodies in the box to get that early goal. And
as a manager, Harry, it must feel great to, along with the players, to point out where a weakness is and solve the problem that well.
Well, it's a positive start. They've kicked off. They've stuck it up there, but poor defending as well. From as much as we've got to praise Tottenham, it was poor defending from Man United.
I think that's the way they started, wasn't it? They started the game bad defensively.
And this goal here, I mean, we can all pick holes in it, but Jones, I mean, he's got to sort his feet out. That's horrendous. I'll tell you what, he couldn't score from there if he tried. He's way past the near post. I mean, look at her. Look how he's flicked that in. I mean,
I think he's got a hangover from the first bit. The first bit, I can't stress enough how important it is for a defender, a centre-half especially, to make sure that before a game you're saying to yourself, I'll win my first tackle, my first header, my first challenge to set the tone in the game. And his game went from the tone was set from the first header that he lost out to Harry Kane. They went 1-0 down and they never recovered from that. And I think Harry Kane today showed why he's the best striker in the league and one of the most potent in Europe, because he bullied Manchester United's 2 centre-halves today, totally dominated them physically with the ball, bringing other people into play. The contrast between him and Lukaku today was so evident. It was unbelievable for my people when we watched it. The ball going into him, sticking, holding centre-halves off, bringing others into the game. That's a real number 9. That's the way you want to see a number 9 play.
Even the fact he didn't score his 100th goal, we're all waiting for it. Almost even better. He showed every side of his game there today in terms of his strength, holding the ball up, making them diagonal runs into the box. And then when he can play like that, everyone else can run off him. So it's a catalyst for the whole of their attacking play. Brilliant.
There is no comparison between the two. I mean, he's on a different level to Lukaku, Harry Kane, and he's as you said, top. He's probably the best striker in Europe at the moment. He's a fantastic player.
And how much do you think that weird performance from United was impacted by the fact that Tottenham got that goal so quickly, just sort of rocking them back so early on?
Well, it's no excuse in the big picture. I mean, it's obviously a factor, because when you do, you set out a game plan, you're positive, you run out there and you think you can apply. I mentioned before the game, I thought they had a bit of a strut. Maybe I got it the wrong way around. Maybe it was overconfidence. Maybe they think they're playing well. All of a sudden, Tottenham come out of the blocks and it puts you in your place. But at some point, you have to turn the corner. And Manchester United didn't turn the corner throughout the game. They were 5 seconds off, 5 yards away.
Yeah, even the shape of them though, Frank. It was a problem. Sanchez, we stick Sanchez out on the left. He's playing in front of Young, who really is, he's gone to left back, but he's been left wing all his life. Suddenly that side there, they're very, very open down there. Sanchez can't fill up for you and do a job defensively. Jose's got a little problem there. The best way to play Sanchez, and it's probably not sticking him out there. I think eventually he'll put him back in and play him in there, in behind, and then he maybe put Lingard out on the left or Rashford on the left. But I think Sanchez needs to be in the middle there where he can get more involved.
I think also today was highlighted. If you play a two-man in midfield for Manchester United, they have problems because the amount of space and time and possession that Eriksen and Dele Alli picked up on the sides of the two centre midfielders was phenomenal. I mean, that's where the problem started. Dembele was running the show in the centre of midfield, and he had so many options when he had the ball to play either side of the two Man United centre midfielders. Pogba and Matic didn't get a glove on anyone today. They couldn't. They didn't have, and that's when you have the four players in attacking positions which Manchester United had. Lingard behind the front three. I think Manchester United have been their best performances when Pogba's been able to be let free in a three-man midfield coming from the left-hand side. Everton was one of them games. In a two, not enough defensive players on the pitch to be able to deal with a team as good as the likes of Spurs.
Despite the fact that United made it easy for them, Spurs still had to perform tonight, and they were brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. You know, in terms of a complete performance, you know, in, tackling. We're going to see every part of a game that you want in an all-round great team performance here. Winning the ball, counter-attack, quality of pass, quickness of movement, people getting up with play. So it's not just Dele Alli on his own, there's always someone else with him. I just thought that link-up play that they had here, Kieran Trippier, I thought was actually very unlucky not to be man of the match. I think he was right up with Eriksen with his delivery and how high he played and the attacking influence he had on the game. But time after time, Tottenham, they won the ball back and it was wave after wave of quick passing, movement. That's getting behind Manchester United. I think they could have probably scored another 2 or 3 goals and it wouldn't have been bad on them. They could have won the game 3 or 4-0.
Sloppy. Man United so many times on the ball, especially. Half the time Man United set up the attacks for Spurs. But then when it got into this man or Harry Kane or Dele at this stage of the pitch, great feet, always looking to get shots off.
Yeah. This is a good Tottenham team, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, and they've got, you know, they have got options. They've got people at the moment waiting to come back. Alderweireld, centre half, you know, Wanyama's ready to come. He's fit, you know, he's available. They've got players. They've got a squad there. I think now with the new signing as well, they've got options everywhere. They've got cover at both full-back positions. Danny Rose is still possibly the best left back in England, you know, and he's not in the side at the moment. So this is a strong outfit.
I think the manager as well, Pochettino, credit to him because he always plays on that front foot. He's asked Kieran Trippier in the first half, almost play as a right winger when we have the ball, give Ashley Young a problem, play so high. Then Eriksen then gets inside spaces, and he tends to take games on in a really positive manner. And when it comes off like that, it's great to watch.
And we could see actually where Christian Eriksen and Dele Alli spent most of the game. And the key thing was, I mean, not just the amount of touches they had and the fact that they were all over the park, but they were also in really dangerous areas. Dele Alli particularly, you can see there.
Yeah, but they're in positions where Manchester United can't pick them up. The two centre midfielders from Man United playing very central, and a lot of their touches are either side of them too, and therefore dragging centre halves out of position. If the centre halves aren't communicating with the midfielders, and today it was highlighted massively, Manchester United centre halves don't communicate with the midfielders to say, listen, go left, stop the ball being played into Eriksen or Dele Alli, because you had them two pinned back by Harry Kane, and the two players other side of the midfielders there causing umpteen problems all game. I mean, it was something that wasn't solved. I'm interested to see Jose Mourinho's reaction, because a couple of times when they scored or chances were created by a Spurs team, he was off the bench, animated, looking very angry. And I'd love to see how we see it from where he was sitting.
Well, of course, we'll hear from Jose Mourinho before too long. Let's talk about the importance for the league table this evening. We can see here this result leaves Tottenham just a couple of points behind Chelsea, who sit fourth. You know, the aim for them obviously is to make it up into the Champions League spots again. It's this win, but it's psychologically keeping that gap close.
Well, the whole night has been a big swing, isn't it? I mean, Tottenham have come here, turned in a fantastic performance. Chelsea have gone and got beat 3-0 at home by Bournemouth, which is the result of the night. In all honesty, Bournemouth going for Bournemouth's point of view. So it's a massive swing tonight. That Chelsea team at the moment is not playing with confidence. There's something not quite right there. Whereas Tottenham, you know, they look in great form and they're ready for these tough games to come, I think, now. And I see Tottenham making the top 4.
Yeah, talking of tough games to come, they are tough, but tonight's again going to have them brimming with confidence for games against Liverpool, Arsenal, Juve in the Champions League twice.
Yeah, I just felt tonight was the Tottenham we saw that were winning games time after time last year at home. Dembele gives them a real strength in midfield, and I think when they have a base of those two midfield, their fullbacks can push on so high. We know how much ability their attacking players have got. 2 centre halves are fantastic and strong. It's a really strong team. You know what? That's a really hard run, but playing as they did tonight, they've got a great chance to go and get results everywhere.
I mean, it's also a key month as well. You know, they're top for aspirations when you're playing Liverpool and Arsenal.
part for it, and a great part of it for Spurs is they're going into them games with momentum.
Absolutely.
And when momentum at this stage of the season is so vital and key. Confidence, more are coming in, going to revitalise the change room, I'm sure, influence the change room in a positive way. And like Harry said, their bench now was a weakness, I thought, for a long period of time. It's starting to look a lot more stronger than it has been over that time, and that is only going to breed confidence throughout this squad.
Yep. I mean, Arsenal have gone and got beat at Swansea last night. Momentum was with Tottenham. This performance tonight will give them great confidence to go and take these games on now.
Yeah, Tottenham and Man City are huge winners tonight. Yeah. They've gone on 1-3-0 again tonight. Distanced themselves again from the chasing pack.
But where does it leave Jose Mourinho and Manchester United? As Rio alluded to, this man was a picture of frustration on the touchline all evening tonight. And we will hear from Jose after the break and get his reaction to this Manchester United defeat. Victory this evening for Tottenham, and the faces of the Manchester United players tell a story this evening. Frustration throughout the match, disappointment at full time, and it's now time to hear from their manager, who was equally frustrated on the touchline. Jose Mourinho is with Des.
Yeah, they did, and I think he's so right in that the defending was, especially the first goal, was amateurish really. But at the end of the day, the top teams, you have to react to these situations. You can't just go 2 goals down and throw the towel in. And I think that's what he'll be disappointed in. He'll be disappointed that these players didn't show a complete reaction of trying to get back into this game and kind of lost their responsibilities collectively. And time after time, this Tottenham team kind of cut through this Man United team from back to front. They were on the edge of their box at times. Tottenham ended up with shots on goal or penalty claims, and that can't be right. And that, in terms of professionalism, here again, sloppy again. You look at this clip here, the back line all over the place. Jones going in. Someone running in by Ashley Young. This is basic defending as a back four, and it just wasn't seen. And Harry alluded to it before about having 2 fullbacks who are wingers. That's where your problem probably starts as well, when you've got Luke Shaw on the side, who's a natural defender, but too easy, far too many times cut through this Man United team.
I thought it was, sorry Frank, I thought it was spot on with, as he said, they conceded that early goal, then they had a good reaction, they had a little spell where you thought, hang on, they're going to get back in the game. But once the second goal went in, it was game over, really. They did seem to lose heart, didn't they? You could never ever see them getting back in the game.
I think he was being pretty honest there, but I think it'd have been much more hard hitting in the dressing room. Yeah. Because I think you can talk about the mistakes, but you can't talk about their slow recovery runs, not getting close to people in midfield, allowing balls down the side of your box and people running in and creating chances, and it happened far too much. The mistakes were mistakes, definitely, but I think behind closed doors, he'll be drumming down what happened for the rest of the game, because there was some poor.
You know him better than anybody, Frank. He wouldn't accept that, would he?
No, he won't. And I think he's right to sort of semi-put the face on. He's got a very good team there. I think they'll be a right long-term hero. They'll come in the top 4 pretty comfortably, I think. But on that performance tonight, there's a lot that needs to be said after that.
You have to remember, Man United came into this with 6 wins on the bounce, 6 clean sheets. Yeah. So they weren't a team suffering a confidence problem. They were coming here bouncing, as Frank said, walking into this with pristine confidence, and it's been absolutely taken away from them in this game.
And it also changes things going forwards for them. You can see the table there. They're now 5 points above Tottenham in 5th. If they'd have won this, Harry, it would have been an 11-point gap between them and 5th place, with the Champions League games coming. It just would have bought Jose options, wouldn't it, for resting players for certain matches.
This was
now
a
he doesn't have that
game.
luxury.
No, it was a massive game tonight, and it was a game where he'd want to come here and play against a top team in Tottenham and turn on a performance. But it, as I say, it never happened tonight. But he has got problems in trying to balance the team up. With Sanchez, he's got to find a spot for Sanchez, and his spot is not, I don't think, stuck out of on that left wing, because especially with, he's asked to do a defensive job as well, and he's not capable of doing that. He needs to be up there where he can go and do damage to the opposition.
And I'm interested to get your thoughts on what Rio said about the United midfield and Paul Pogba taken off tonight after an hour, after 62 minutes. Most people look at that Matic and Pogba axis as a real strength, don't they? But in another big game tonight, it didn't look good enough.
No, and it's a big game against a team that are going to hurt you with their attacking players. So you have to think about that. And I'm saying, because I think Pogba's got so many great attributes. A lot of them are forward-thinking attributes, athleticism, ability on the ball, can find a pass. But if he's being asked to do that job today, next to Matic, he has to do that with complete responsibility. Yeah. He has to take a little one on the chin in terms of get myself forward. Lingard's in there, Sanchez on the left, Martial. We've got a lot of attacking players, and I didn't see him have that awareness defensively, and that's why he brought him off early, because he's one of his prime players. He's one of his top men. Just to bring him after 60 minutes.
Is it because Paul Pogba wanted to play the kind of game he wanted to play rather than the job that Jose was asking him to do?
And we've all been there as a midfield player, and I had it loads in my career, managers asking me to have more discipline. And you have to try and take it on board. Now, on the flip side, I can say, yes, but Pogba wants to be released. Now, I get that. But I'm saying, when you're in a big team like that, where they have lots of threats around him, you have to think about, when you're in a part of a two, what is happening on around me? Not just when we get the ball, what can I do with it? What is happening around me? And he didn't switch on enough to that. And sometimes when the ball went on the other side of him, he doesn't run back as fast as he runs forward.
No.
And that's a big problem.
But this isn't something new. We've been saying it since Pogba signed. He's better in a free. And so to expect him to come here and do that, this isn't his game. That's not a natural part of his game. Yeah, we can say, oh, he should do this. His natural thinking is to think forward and get on the ball, and that's the disappointing thing. And that's where you think, as a manager, you'd look after a player you're trying to build a team around almost. Yeah, but he's best performance.
But that means taking Lingard out of the team, doesn't it, as well? Do you know what I mean? So Lingard,
big players got to go off the pitch, isn't it? That's the problem.
It's a tough call, which is.
But he has asked him tonight. He's given responsibility and said, "Look, this is how we line up. Lingard is there, Sanchez is there. You are going to have to play in there, and you've got to do a job." But he's got to be responsible and do that job. He can't go wandering forward when he wants to. His job tonight was to play and hold that midfield, and he didn't really do that tonight. But Matic looked a little bit one-paced tonight and all, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm sure the inquest will be going on. Obviously, Frank knows the Jose Mourinho dressing room quite well, so when he says he wouldn't have been that kind to the players, he certainly knows what he's talking about. Right, let's hear from the manager, though, who will be very happy with his team's performance tonight. Here's Maurizio Pochettino. Far from finished, we are going to be live here for the next half an hour. We've got a little Premier League Tonight special for you now. We're going to reflect on the big movers and shakers during the day on transfer deadline day. We will stay on air until the transfer window shuts. If anything breaks, you'll hear it here first. Stay where you are. See you after the break.